And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Strategic Command, World War One, the Cold Arms campaign as the Central Powers. If memory serves, we did just basically complete the entire turn. So it should be good for us to do one last check over on the science, and then we can basically cycle the turn. We're rolling into October, so that means winter is coming. This is the beginning of a new stream on this run. So I'm just getting myself refreshed to make sure I didn't forget things on the last run, in the last stream. As far as winning the game is concerned, we need to get the Russian national morale down by another 5,000 a bit points. We got about 11% of their national morale left, at which point we will then need to get either the British or the French to surrender. Similar mechanisms we can do via the Russians. And in fact, the Russian surrender, I believe, will lower their national morale. Will help a little bit with that. And I think as soon as we end this turn here, we'll have Greece surrendering, which may do the same. Yeah, as the winter rolls in, we're probably going to find it harder and harder to keep it advancing. Although we're maybe reaching the point where we're running at a really good place to advance. Obviously, Riga destroyed the troops caught up in the Kurland pocket. We can make the dash to Petrograd. No point in going past Petrograd. We could make the dash to Moscow. And I think they have one more capital. Maybe the Russians don't have one more capital. But yeah, we're starting to reach the point where we're going to run out of easy to grab national morale objectives. And it's not worth pushing into the deep Russia. Although they've only got like 5,000 left, right? So if we get to Petrograd, Petrograd's 1,000, Riga's 1,000, Smolensk is 1,000, Moscow's 1,000, Kiev's 1,000, Odessa's 1,000. So we're not gonna have to push much past the nearest cities. The Russian army should collapse soon, and then we can pull the horses off to deal with our flanks. So let's go into research and check to make sure there's no. Well, we can do a little approach decision first. Couldn't grab a core as the Germans here. Same sort of thing with the Austrians. And actually, in theory, I'm quite rich at the moment. But I think we'll probably do either some. Okay, so we got two. Okay, so all the chits are assigned for Germany. We got chits we could assign for Austria-Hungary and the Ottomans. Although the really only thing we need is to keep Netherlands favoring us. I don't think investing more than one chit per nation is a good idea for that. Going to research. Yeah, we probably want to do some research. Add some more research piles. So enough chits in there to get that a max. Enough chips in there to get that a max. There. Could grab amphibious warfare. Might actually want to grab amphibious warfare if we were to be planning to take the British down. We're planning, I think, to take the French down. Same sort of thing, the naval warfare. If we were going to go for the British, that would be a way to go. Let's grab the other shit in infantry. So that should be enough to get command and control and infantry maxed out. And grab some fighter development. Is it going to caps out 3 chits? Yeah, it's not going to let us do more than 3 chits. I've got enough that we can pick up the last tank development as well. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. German research-wise. Austro-Hungarians, we can spend 230. So we actually have quite a bit left over after spending that 230. Can't put in more logistics. Okay, so we're good to spying intelligence. Let's actually grab the spying intelligence. It'll be a bit late to do much of a difference, but... And then let's grab some fighter development here. And that's all we can invest. We got 320, we can spend on other stuff. Ottomans we can't spend anything on. Okay, so if we want to spend the Austro-Hungarian and the Ottoman pools, we need to actually spend them on units and stuff. I suppose another Austro-Hungarian corps would not be the worst of plans. And I can afford one of the infantry weapons too, sure. Oh, and the Ottomans don't have their full set of fighters and bombers, so let's recruit the fighter and the bomber. Maybe get a detachment for the Ottomans so he can suppress some of the partisans. Okay, that looks good for the turn. Let's cycle the turn. Let's see how the Entente handles the deteriorating situation in Greece. Socialist agitation lowers Russian determination to continue war. U.S. protests against the enforcement of distant blockade on Germany. Entente raiders disrupting the Norway, Germany, and Sweden-Germany corridors. Okay. U.S. north of Scotland blockade impacts to Germany and in the North Sea. In a national referendum, Australia votes against introducing conscription. Okay, so Australia is apparently not going to be sending more troops to the British. German flying ace, Oswald, not going to bounce that, is killed in a mid-air collision. Okay, so we lose another one of our aces. Scientists report progress in advanced sub-development, up to 57%. Okay. Hit production tech level 2. Gas shell production level 1, so the Ottomans will be able to shell more. It's looking like it's a muddy turn for the Entente forces here. Italy forms a Czechoslovak volunteer corps. The Italians need all the help they can get. We haven't even really brought in the heavy artillery yet. They're having trouble. I'm actually surprised that the Greeks did not surrender. Although at this point they've functionally been destroyed, so... Although there might be a couple on Crete. That might be what they maybe successfully rolled the not surrender chance based on troops in Crete. I think that's Greek territory. Oh, yeah, he's doing a bunch of thinking. Okay. French preparatory bombardments. British preparatory bombardments. The Daunt has a lot of artillery pieces. My question is, do they have enough infantry corps to follow up this heavy bombardment at this point? Assuming those are upgraded artillery pieces, they are de-entrenching me. The question is, at this point, will the soldiers be able to resist? Yeah, that's the sort of damage we expect if we're de-entrenched. Oh, interesting. Massive bombardment, barely any follow-up attacks with infantry. Is thinking. One Greek unit still holding out, although suffering attrition at this point. Conscription leads to industrial unrest in the docks. We disrupt 5 different Entente convoy lines. And the blockade is continuing. Woodrow Wilson is re-elected President of the USA. Baghdad damage from bombarding, and that place damaged. And yeah, I think that's at least 50, if not 60 MPP worth of damage on the rating. So we know there's 3 HQs caught up in the pocket. This is the Bulgarian Air Force. I should put these on the rail line because they're gonna operate it out somewhere. Oh, and it's raining, and it's muddy. Okay, well, let's move to the fronts where it isn't raining and muddy. 0 to 6. Yeah, we'll take the 0 to 6. Okay, at this point, I don't think there's any surviving. At least not on. At least, well, it could be on Crete, Crete and Maduros. I don't think there's very many surviving. Surviving resistance forces at this point for the Greeks. Got 2 shells. They got a transport 5. You've got 9 shells. Although you only got 1 target, so you're gonna just dump them into the nearby target. That's what's likely gonna happen there. And we scooch forward. So we're going to slowly work our way into Cairo, take over all the national morale objectives over here. This will put a ticking minus 50 on the UK. And then we're going to get attacks up there. No. Can operate down the cavalry. Serves a little bit faster exploitation force. Got a German HQ down there. Let's bring one of the Austro-Hungarian ones down. And a couple corps of Austro-Hungarian. No partisans in Greece. Missing the infantry weapons. Although you're ready and on the rails, so against what we're fighting, which I'm gonna have you operate down to fight partisans, you'll be fine. So the HQ will improve the effectiveness of all the Austro-Hungarian troops down here, and the 2 corps should be enough firepower to dig out the partisans. German artillery piece. We're going to operate you to the Western Front. If Greece doesn't surrender, I'm going to check to see if there's actually someone on Crete. The only place that makes sense. Okay, found one of the subs. The supply is apparently pretty bad down here. So we're not getting much recovery. Oh, 2 to 7. I'm not gonna be able to resist that attack. One less Italian corps in the world. Okay, that's all the attacking we're gonna do there. So that's basically the south. Next would be the east. Let's work a little bit in the east because logistics. It's 5 cargo. Oh dear. Oh dear. Apparently I've caught the entire Russian command in the pocket. Sorry. Sorry for the level of laughter here. Wasn't expecting to catch the entire Russian high command in the pocket here. At this point, I just need a recon run to see. Okay, that is not telling me very much. But yeah, it looks like we've got the majority of the Russian high command in this pocket. It was the supply. The supply is just that bad. Oh. Yeah, the city hasn't recovered from when we shelled it. Okay. And it's mud. And it's mud. Get you a little bit better. Yeah, no, the supply is going to be stopping the offensive at this point. We can over-reinforce these guys, which we'll do. For the artillery, what's the upgrade in the artillery? Mobility. Tempting, actually. We'll pick the mobility up. We might actually need it to keep chasing the Russians at this rate. So, partisan-wise, I need to get some detachments out here. You're not on the rail line. Move you there. And we operate you where I want. No. Supply hasn't recovered enough, apparently, for that sort of operation. Okay. Yeah, supply 3, supply 3. Let's properly make sure that someone... Oops. No. Properly shut off that, rail line. By putting someone on it. Okay. Either until the weather improves or the artillery gets into position, we're not... obviously not attacking here. I can't get to that hex. Okay, if they want to be aggressive, they could technically jump our artillery piece there, but... that's what it is. Okay, so that's the Eastern Front. Technically got some units that can move, but we'll have these guys dig in so that they don't try to relieve the rail line here. Gotta keep that pocket intact. Can't let the Russian high command escape. There's at least five HQs in there. That's gonna be almost like 2,000 2,000 Russian national morale alone. Just HQs. Yeah, I don't think Russians are gonna be in the war this long. The war for much longer at this rate. You have 5 shells. You'll have 9 shells next turn. So I don't. Well, you've got the storage for it, so I don't need to. I don't need to rush to dump these shells. Don't need mobility either. We're not in a portion of the front line where we're going to be moving that much. Gunshot. Oh, let's get the Air Force doesn't have enough quite get it recovered. Yeah. Okay, so subs need to be either being upgraded or repaired or launched. So you need a repair. You need a repair. These two are ready for launch. You got this one limping in. It's far enough in that it can probably stop running silent. Get you on that raiding route. Get you across to that one. Ah, you really need to be inbound. That might be close enough to the raiding area that we'll actually get the decision for unrestricted naval warfare. If I'm getting offered it, I will take it. Okay. And then you're out there raiding. You got 8 supply points, so you can keep going. Although maybe we may we'll keep it up there for the moment. We might turn around and start going the other way with the expectation that the Russians are about to surrender. But yeah, I think that is the turn. We spent a lot repairing stuff. We got some upcoming bills here. If the weather gets any worse, we're definitely going to stop advancing. Even though HQs are really vulnerable, because 4 is as weak as I'm willing to go against HQs. If we actually saw any real combat troops here, 4 would even be a little low. And then, yeah, we've outrun our supply. We got a half a dozen cities that we control where they only got 3 supply on rail lines. We just gotta wait for them to recover. Okay, so research and other stuff. We've got 14 or 140 here, and we can spend up to 85. What did we finish? Or maybe I just didn't have enough to spend. That's fair with the Germans. Grab another armored warfare, start working towards the next tank. Yeah, let's grab the next armored warfare and start working towards the next tank. We haven't got the first one deployed, but we're thinking about going farther than that. And I don't have enough. Okay, so that's all the research we can do because we've got 35 war maximum research, and nothing is that cheap. You've got 105. Command and control. You finish gas shell production. We'll grab the 3rd one. And then if I want to spend the rest of their MPP, I gotta spend it on stuff. So the attachment of torpedo boat. Torpedo boat was actually a little tempting. I don't think there's anything Bulgarian now. Germans are probably not going to spend it. Yep, I think I'm just good. Just gonna cycle the turn here. Okay. And we'll see how the Entente handles the deteriorating situation in the east and the south. There we go. Greece surrenders. Austria-Hungary plunders 204 MPP. Commander of the High Seas Fleet, we have naval units in place that could more effectively sink merchant shipping and bringing supplies to the UK if you were to stop following the cruiser rules restricting commerce raiding. Instead, we could authorize a naval commander to launch a campaign of unrestricted naval warfare against the shipping off the coast of the UK. Such a move would certainly upset US public opinion, as neutral ships will inevitably be sunk. But if we use enough vessels, then the result could be quite spectacular. Would you like to authorize the launch of an unrestricted campaign against shipping to the UK? So notes, in addition to normal sinkings, the fear of unrestricted campaign will put into the enemy could lead to British ports clogging up with merchantmen too afraid to sail. If this were to lead to their ports being operable, this would have a massive impact on the UK's ability to determine the determination of wage war. Okay, so the notes here don't really help very much. There's 4 regions as far as unrestricted naval warfare are concerned. For each one, you have raiders in, as the Germans. You get a national morale buff. For each one, you have some raiders in. Irregardless of how many raiders you have, you get a single buff. For each raider in one of those zones, you do a national morale hit to the British. It's basically the opposite of the North Sea and distant blockades for the British, except the British don't get any national morale for blockading you. Also, this will push the Americans towards declaring war. Although we're so late into the war without having the need to do this, we're going to hit yes here. There really isn't a good reason to not hit yes. Unless you really don't want to be defeating the British. Unrestricted attacks on trade in the North Channel affect British morale, as I said. We get a national morale boost because we're raiding in one of the regions. And the US doesn't like that, so they're pushed a little bit more towards joining the Entente. US is shocked and outraged by the sinking of the Lusitania. We disrupt the Norway-Germany, the Norway-Germany and the Sweden-Germany convoys are disrupted. Naval units north of Scotland are blockading, and in the North Sea are. Archduke Karl becomes Emperor of Austria and King of Hungary. Okay, so the Emperor is dead. Long live the Emperor. Jacques London, author of Call of the Wild, dies at age 40. The prolific inventor, Sir Hiram Stevens Maxim, dies at age 76. I think this is the inventor of the Maxim gun. Germany develops infantry weapons level 2. Scientists report progress in armored warfare development. 45%. Report progress in aerial warfare development. Austria-Hungary develops artillery weapons level 2. Austria-Hungary develops logistics level 2. Okay. The Entente is thinking, as I can imagine they really need to do in this situation. Either doing a lot of movement that we can't see. Could be a little bit of both. Okay, we're not allowed to have a functional Baghdad. think the French at least are ahead on us when it comes to fighter development. Their fighters definitely hurt. Some mild skirmishing. Ottoman's trying to break into the pocket and failing. German morale is boosted by the use of unrestricted naval warfare. U.S. protests the use of unrestricted naval warfare. Norway complains about Entente attacks on their merchantmen. Conscription leads to industrial unrest in Sheffield. We are raiding 6 different convoy lines. We are being blockaded. David Lloyd George becomes Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Baghdad damage from bombing. And that is the damage from the submarine campaigns. UK-Russia convoy, apparently there was only 3 MPP to damage. Same with the Libya-Italian convoys, only 3 MPP to damage. Otherwise, decent shipping damage. Bunch of recon bombers and fighters. Okay. Western Front or Eastern Front? That's a good question. We're going to do Eastern Front. We'll have to take some time to get it back when we win the war in the East, but... Hungarian airship. Use up some reconnaissance in Adriatic. And you are going to the Alps. Okay. So that's our deployment. We got enough motion to get to the city. No. I'll make the run to it. See if it's empty. It's in fact empty. Oh, you can get all the way down there. Okay. There we go. So Medina's retaken. We got, I assume, 2 partisans there that we need to suppress. You'll have to keep the 3 detachments down here to suppress these 4 partisans. But these 2 corps should be able to clean up the partisans fairly quickly. I may then take these 3. I might start the walk across the desert to try to hit the British in the rear there. Probably isn't worth the effort, but I'm going to try. Got 8 shells and 3 shells. We'll hold the 3 shells. I think we'll shell this end. Five times, so we can start an attack there. And there we are in the enemy's operational depths. Let's do some minor recovery on those 2. British HQ a bit. Okay, that's working. So that's the Ottoman front, unless there's particular weakness in the Russians, and there isn't. No partisan activity down here. Okay, I'm gonna operate these guys down to help in the Cairo campaign. Help there. Little Bulgarian friends. Okay, Risk the torpedo boat. See if we can find one of the subs. No luck. What's the supplies on these ships? 7, 8, 5. So you should go back and get supplies. Of course, you can just dash now into a Greek port to do that. So those two definitely need to recover. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need the artillery to get this offensive going again, but, well, the artillery has in fact arrived, so that may be doable. Okay, Eastern Front-wise, we got rain, which isn't necessarily too bad. Four entrenchment. Is this a mobility upgrade? No, it's the artillery weapon upgrade. Okay. Let's blow the entrenchment up where we've got the shells. Okay, so we've taken Kiev, which is going to be another minus 1,000. So yeah, you can see the Russians, their will to resist is melting. Because of the terrible supply in the rain, it's just like, nah, no recovery for you. Okay. They're gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be. Because I don't think it's updated for Kiev. It might update automatically for the regular field units. So yeah, Kiev, that's gonna be 1,000. We're gonna have to push into Riga. That's gonna be 1,000, and then those HQs are gonna be so good for us getting their points low. And yeah, I think the Russians are going. So we're gonna have someone on the line, but we're gonna have it in preparation for there not being a line. Silently run under the blockade. You're on your way in. Oop. Hit a destroyer. Okay. You're ready to go out. And then we can do reconnaissance run with airships, see if there's any British ships that have wandered into the places they probably should not be. Although that doesn't appear to be the case at the moment. Okay. Yeah, we probably want to blow the French one up if we're gonna target one. You recover because you're particularly low. Really don't want Verdun to fall, so we'll recover the Verdun Corps. We're gonna recon that French. Okay. Then we gain the artillery bombardment. Okay, I think that's the assault for the turn over here. Two French corps destroyed. And we're beginning to push in multiple locations, which is good. Okay, so there's a dreadnought in that port. We don't have a mine out. Excuse me, I put a little cheeky mine here. There's a chance that if it leaves port, it hits a mine. Okay, so I think that's where we're gonna end for the turn. Yeah. Research-wise, Germany should spend more. Let's grab one last one in armored warfare. If the game goes that long, we will in fact use some tanks. Maybe having some anti-submarine warfare. Yeah. Or let's grab an anti-aircraft and anti-submarine. Here we can spend some. Let's grab last ship we need to hit maximum production. and then a chit in infantry. In fact, we got quite a bit as Austria-Hungary. Okay. So we're in purchasing point at this point. Germany. We're going to need detachments sooner rather than later. The question here is, do I grab them with infantry weapons to actually fight in Russia or not? I'm just going to grab them. I'm not going to grab them with infantry weapons. I'll make them one turn later than otherwise if I wanted to use them to fight, but because I'll have to stop and grab the weapons. But couple more Austro-Hungarian corps. Oh, you have a Marine. Let's grab a Marine with you. And I think but well before it gets there, if not. I don't think we have enough time for the mountain corps to be useful in mountain terrain. So we'll go to the normal corps. And then we'll cycle the turn, we'll see how the Entente responds, and then we'll put the part break in before we do the next turn. Loss of Kiev reduces Russian national morale. Arabia surrenders. Oh, and the partisans surrendered too. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Of course. Some of the partisan spots haven't been occupied, so the partisans rise up again. Fair enough. Ottoman troops morale as the Arabs revolt again. Entente naval units north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Rasputin is assassinated in Russia. Germany develops aerial warfare level 2. Production tech level 3. So yeah, I think we're a little ahead of schedule because IRL Rasputin, I think, gets assassinated before the Tsar abdicates. The Tsar has already abdicated, but one of those in-game is triggered by national morale of the Russians. The other one is on its historical date. Oh, those poor British HQs. They got nowhere to go. I am expecting this protrusion here that's unentrenched. Well, it's entrenched because technically it's got the French entrenchments, but with the entrenchments facing the wrong way, I'm expecting that one to probably die. Got a pretty hefty dink in one of the French artillery pieces at least. goes. Was expecting that. I mainly pushed into the Hex because I saw the opportunity to swing an artillery piece, not because I was expecting it to be a good swing, or a good Hex to occupy. Although we're definitely at the point in the game where we can accept some casualties if it's in exchange for enemy casualties. The ascension of Kaiser Karl increases national aspirations in Austria-Hungary. Central Power Raiders disrupt Egypt-UK convoy. Oh. Imports to Germany and the North Sea. Okay, so it was the sea one. German commerce raiders Mao attacks the trade from the British Empire. William Buffalo Bill Cody dies, age 70. Lost the Guard Corps. We disrupted not as much trade this turn. Barely even got up to 20 MPP. There's the Carl. Okay. Adrianople detachment. Maritime bombers. Yeah. 2 Austro-Hungarian corps. Okay, so this is where we're going to go ahead and put a part break in. Tooltip doesn't want to play along with showing me the national morale for the Russians. We can go into regular graphs. Casualties are obviously going up. Where's the Russian national morale now? 2%. 2%. Yeah, the Russian national morale is nearly broken. I would not be surprised if, much like we did at the beginning of the stream, where we got the Greece to surrender, that the Russians, I think, will be next. That will be the next part. We may get them surrendered this January, and then it will be time for the big push. Push to Paris, and putting pressure on the Italians to draw attention away from Paris. Oh, there it was. Just gave me the breakdown, or give me the breakdown for a moment. Sensitivity is a little weird on these tooltips. But yeah. Yeah, the Russians are going to be surrendering. If you're watching on YouTube, they'll be part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a short break to stretch the legs, sip some tea, and then we will be on the attack. Well, as much as the weather allows, at least. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.